All right, 9 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our special meeting today. Let's begin with a prayer, and then we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful spring day. We thank you for a chance to gather together here to once again consider the serious matters before us today related to fire protection provided by our first responders. We thank you for the services that they provide, the protection that they provide. And we just ask that you would unite us, Lord, in this decision, and may your will be done. Protect our servicemen and women wherever they are. And we just turn this meeting over to you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, again, this is a special meeting, not our usual second or fourth meeting of the month, but we had a matter here that needed to be attended to today, and I've chosen to add a couple of more items on here as well. I will not be at next Monday's meeting, and I wanted to get as much on here and relieve that agenda next Monday of a couple of items here. We're going to begin with time for public comments, requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Anyone wish to address the court on general matters that are not on the agenda at this time? Then I'll move on into item number 2, the main reason why we are here today. I've prepared some notes here. I just want to make a brief comment. I'll turn it over to any commissioners that want to make a comment. If we still would like to hear from anybody in the audience, we can certainly do that. But as a review, the court met last Monday, and this again is item number 2, consider and possibly approve a fire protection contract as approved by the City of Mount Pleasant. Again, as a review, we met last Monday in our May regular meeting with this same identical agenda item. After much discussion and a couple of failed votes, the court approved the proposal that had been presented. The court did not approve the proposal that had been presented by a unanimous city council. There was a bit of a difference there, and I'll explain that. The basics of the city amendment that was presented to us with a unanimous approval by the council provided for an increase to the current fire protection contract. In our current contract as it stands right now, the county pays the city about $488,000 per year, and the city provides supplemental equipment and manpower with a current guarantee of 2 men and 2 trucks. Fortunately for the county, Chief McRae has always provided well in excess of this guaranteed minimum. The amendment would increase the $488,000 by $30,000 per month, or $360,000 annually in total increase, for a total of about $848,000 per year with an annual inflation adjustment. These increases would take effect June 1 of this year with a $15,000 monthly increase, followed by another $15,000 increase starting in October of this year, or 4 months later to coincide with the beginning of the new budget year. The amendment would also raise the guaranteed manpower from 2 men to 4 men. With the justification that the $360,000 annual increase was occurring too quickly, the Commissioners Court provided an alternative adjustment that would delay the second $15,000 monthly increase from October of 2017 to June of 2018, thereby saving the county $120,000 while we were transitioning to this increased annual contract amount of $848,000. This was approved by the Commissioners Court last Monday. However, the city held to their original proposal of a June and October stair-step adjustment. Please remember that the city's original contract adjustment proposal came in August of last year, shortly after we had a presentation by our consultant that was hired jointly by the city and the county. That original proposal that Mr. Ahrens presented to me included a stair-step increase of $720,000 over a 5-year period, ultimately providing 6 firefighters as a guaranteed amount. The court did not take any action at that time and delayed a decision on the matter until this spring. My most recent counter proposal this spring suggested, instead of the $720,000, a $600,000 increase that would occur over that same 5-year period. Today we consider something quite a bit less than either of those two, a $360,000 increase, again down significantly from those original negotiations. While this guarantees 4 city-provided firefighters rather than the 6 that we were hoping to build up to, this does guarantee the 4 plus a commander on the scene, and that seems to be a level of support that the county can live with. So today we're down to considering how quickly we are willing to ramp up to the $360,000 increase. Can we accept a June-October 2017 time frame? I strongly support this, and I ask the Commissioners Court to approve. Let's show our commitment to the residents of the county and our volunteer firefighters that we are committed to ensuring a sensible balance between the cost and the quality of fire protection in Titus County. Let's show the City of Mount Pleasant that we appreciate the strong leadership and support that they have provided for us over the years, and that we understand the increasing cost of that service and are willing to pay our fair share. Commissioners.
Judge, last time I proposed to meet what the city had passed, and it did not pass, so I came back and we went with another deal which did pass, but the city held steady with what they were wanting to do, and I certainly don't have any problem with it.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
You know, there's 2 contracts that we put out there, and one is over a 16-month period, and the other one's over a 2-year period. And what I'm trying to do is try to save the taxpayers some money and help them. I'm not taking no money against the firefighters or anybody's life or anything else. I just think it's a drastic $360,000 increase within the next 4 months, where over a 2-year period you get 6 firefighters. Within over the next 4 months you get 6 firefighters with $360,000 for 4 months, and then $15,000 thereafter. You'll have a total of 6 firefighters for a year and say 16 months, what you're asking for. We proposed a 2-year contract that would give you 6 now, and 3 now, and 3 at June of 2018 will give you 3 more. That's 6 firefighters in 2 years, with trying to keep from getting a debt on the county. And you know, we went across this deal last week, and everybody left before we got the last negotiation platform set up. And before the court was over with, everybody's getting text message that the city had pulled the 2-man, 2-truck contract. And to me, that was a show of, you know, that was putting money before lives, if you ask me, because I've been accused of putting money before lives, and I think that was one of them, and it shouldn't have been that way. And I just think that we could work this out, that wouldn't have to come up with this big amount of money, and I just think the city is, you know, using the fire department and the volunteers to get this money, and I just think it's just too, just being greedy. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll say this, Judge, I've talked to quite a few people and had quite a few calls last week, and they certainly, I have not had one person tell me that they had a problem. We had to go up to cover this expense and taxes. Not one person's told me they didn't want it. Everybody I talked to said they would not have a problem if we had to increase taxes to cover this coverage. So I don't have a problem with it. Back to you. I'll make that motion to accept what the city proposed.
Okay, Commissioner Fields makes a motion to accept what was originally proposed by the city, and that included increases that come in two ways, first of June, and then again in October of 2017. That is the motion.
Can we ask for the people to talk before we vote?
Absolutely, you can.
I'd rather do that than
Okay.
we go to.
All right. Anyone would like to address the court at this time? Sure. Nigel, come on up.
Good morning.
Morning.
All I really want to do is ask a question. All this proposed increases in fire protection and how it's shared between the city and county, it all comes from that report that was published last summer by some consultants. I'd just like to know, I've read the report several times, but nowhere in it can I find who wrote the report. Can you find out and send me an email with who actually wrote the report?
I'm sure we can.
Between you, you know? I think that's something that, you know, typically is in that kind of report. I'd just like to know who actually wrote the report, because as you know, I have a lot of problems with it, but I'd like to know where it came from.
You know, and as far as did all this come from that provided report that the consultant gave us, I think that in theory, we had been actually discussing that concept of a necessary increase to full-time firefighters even before that was
Well, yeah, I mean,
also
that's one of the reasons why
recommended.
why the report was commissioned in the first place. But,
Yeah, okay.
but within weeks of it coming out, Mr. Aaron's kicked off this round of negotiations based on what was in that report. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right. So I have a motion.
I second the motion.
Second is made by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Is that a 3-1? What was your vote? Okay. So we do have a 4-1 vote. All right. Let me say this. Thank you, everybody. This has been a multi-meeting deal. I know a lot of you have stewed and fretted and been anxious about this, and negative words have been shot both directions. Understand, or just be reminded, I know you understand, everybody in this room has a job to do and have objectives of their own. And the objectives of this court sometimes don't match up with the objectives of those of you that sit in the audience or those of you that pay taxes. But we're going to continue to do the best we can, and one of our main jobs is not only providing that fire protection, but providing smart use in the way that we spend our money. And so before we get overly critical of one another, let's remember that put yourself in somebody else's shoes before you make those comments and understand what each of us are dealing with. But in the end, I think we've got a wonderful agreement here. It may not be absolutely the best thing that one of you was considering, whether you were wanted more or less, but I think it's a good compromise. And let's leave this meeting today shaking hands and knowing that we've made a good plan here for the next few years. This contract will run for another 3.5 years, and we may be back in here at that time. But in the meantime, we have accomplished this, and you don't ever reach important decisions like this without there being some, some controversy. But again, thank you for your time. Thank you to the volunteers. Thank you to the full-time staff of the city, Chief McCrae, Mike Aarons, and everyone who has come up and given comment here, who has contacted us after the meetings and helped us to make this decision. We appreciate you all very much. And if there's nothing else, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Y'all are welcome to stay with us and talk about subdivisions, or you're welcome to get back to your jobs. Thanks, buddy. All right, moving on to item number 3, we've got a couple of plats here today to consider and possibly approve. We've had some discussion before on the Case Mobile Home Subdivision. That's item number 3. So today we're going to consider and possibly approve that plat for Case Mobile Home Subdivision. This is in Commissioner Fields' precinct, and this is Mr. Case is constructing a mobile home community. He will own those mobile homes. They are for lease, and he is not selling off pieces of this 10-acre subdivision, but he is wanting to provide this rental community, and we have specific guidelines in our subdivision rules and regulations that address this, and I believe that Mr. Case, after spending a good bit of time discussing how he would set up his sewage system utilizing a multiple septic systems. He's also laid out for us what we need so that we can approve this. And I'll turn it over to Commissioner Fields, and I think Commissioner Fields is satisfied that Mr. Case has met our demands. And tell us what else we need to know, Commissioner.
Okay, well, it's took a while to get this done. First of it was the road, and there was not enough base on it, and he came back and put some, what I call good base on it, and it's plenty thick. It meets, to me, it would meet that, even though this is private property. And I made it clear to him, not once, but probably 4 or 5 times, if he sells any portion of this, then before it can be sold, he's got to come back and put a topping on that gravel road. And he understands that completely. I hope he understands it. Clint, talked with him, he said everything met his guidelines, so he signed off on it, and then,
George Sanford?
Yeah. The septic system and stuff like this, they have to do everything specific. But Clint said everything was all right with him. So as far as I'm concerned, it's ready to go.
Okay, ready for signature.
Yes, sir.
We'll make that in the form of a motion.
Yes, sir. I'll make
All
that
right,
form of a
Commissioner
motion.
Fields makes a motion that we approve this plat for Case Homes Subdivision.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor of approval of this plat, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 4, consider and possibly approve a plat for Hill Acres subdivision. This is located in Precinct 1 with Commissioner Riddle, and I believe we have a representative here, Mr. Bradshaw. If we have any questions for Ken here, but this is a subdivision that I'm not real familiar with, so Commissioner Riddle, what do we need to know about this?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, and I apologize, Mr. Bradshaw, for during the move or somewhat I got a little confused, but I really thought when you had George and Clint that the septic was being handled, and I didn't know it till the last minute, but as far as I know, everything's done. 911, I didn't talk to the lady, but until you ask for a street number, you don't need anything from her because you're not making new roads. So again, I apologize, but it's all ready. Everything's okay, and I would approve it, or make that motion, we approve it.
Okay, motion is made by Commissioner Riddle for approval on Hill Acres, second by Commissioner Fields. I just have a question. How many lots are in this subdivision? 9 lots, and you told me they were a minimum size of 5 acres, and they go up to as large as what?
The largest one is 9, a little over 9, but they're basically 5, 7 acre lots.
Okay, and this did not involve constructing a new road, is that what I understand? That's what it looks like? Okay, so you're just utilizing existing county roads and have made lots in there, and the target is to get folks to buy these rather large lots and build homes on them? No commercial purpose intended for this? Okay.
That's exactly right. We also put restrictions in there, this is the side of the house.
Okay.
And let's keep it clean, let's don't put it on.
Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with that, but we just don't want that for this one.
Okay. All right. Got a motion and a second for approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then last item of the day, consider and possibly approve a resolution for the sale of property. We have another one of these pieces of property that Tim Taylor, who helps us to collect our taxes, this was a piece of property that ultimately went to auction. They did not get an acceptable bid, and so it has been off of the tax rolls for quite some time. We do have an offer here. Let me give you some details here. $2,500 is the offer on this. The original judgment amount for uncollected taxes was about $2,700. The lot was on the roll at $8,011. It is only a .33 acre piece of property. And so we have $2,500. We'll just a little bit, well, we'll not quite pay for the back taxes that were on it. And it does not come close to the appraised value, but nonetheless, when it went to auction, nobody seemed to think that that appraised value was realistic, and so there it sat. And this is an opportunity to get it back on the tax rolls and perhaps even get a home built on that lot. So the request here is that you would consider a $2,500 offer on this third of an acre lot.
I make that motion, that puts it back on the tax roll, and they're able to, whoever buys it, pay the taxes, and it'll be proportioned out to different entities, but I make that motion.
And this will require other taxing entities to approve as well.
Yes.
But they have to have ours.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Fields, second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor of accepting this $2,500 offer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item number 6, closing comments, if any. I don't have any. I'll turn it over to my left this time. None from Commissioner Parker.
I'd say thank you all for all coming to the court today.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Commissioner Fields?
We just need to remember our neighbors to the south of us because of the tornadoes and the bad weather and stuff. It really took a kicking down there. I thought we were going to catch it. I guess it was Friday night or Thursday night of last week. But, people have responded, and it's just typical Texans. They're going to respond, and they're going to be there for their neighbors. So, and I did have some friends in that area, and they were all okay. But they still got a lot to clean up and a lot to deal with, so remember them in our prayers. That's all I have.
Commissioner Riddle? All right, with a motion to adjourn, we will adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Parker. Second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming.